It's the College Football Couch Potato Report with Dan, the fan with the mic, giving you the fan's perspective of this week's best college football games. Got a bowl of snacks to my left, icy cold beverages to my right, and college football on the TV. Let's see where the action takes us this week. Hello once again, and welcome into the Couch Potato Report for Week 10 of the college football season. Calendars finally turned to November. Now's when things really start to get interesting usually in college football. The energy's building, the suspense is building with the impending BCS and everything like that. And oh boy, I'm very excited. Great time for college football. So, as we begin the Couch Potato Report today, Saturday, November 3rd, well, let's just say this. As you all know, last week I had my bye week. This Couch Potato obviously got off the couch and went to a wedding. Okay, so I knocked all the crumbs off my shirt, put on some pants, and I went to a wedding, and it was very nice. It was very nice. So then I come back this week, and I'm doing my usual routine with being on the couch watching these lovely college football games, and as we all saw, look what I came back into. This was probably one of the crazier weeks of college football we've seen in the last couple of years. I mean, we had two teams combined for over almost 1,500 yards of offense. We had another game going to triple overtime. We had a thriller down-to-the-wire game that just ended. So, holy crap, where do we even begin? Well, as you know, we've talked about Notre Dame a couple of times on this podcast. We just talked about LSU last week. So, for the Game of the Week portion, for Week 10 of the college football season, we're going to go out to what transpired on the West Coast today between the Oregon Ducks and the USC Trojans. Now, before we even do anything, let's just remember what the final score of this game was, okay? Final score, 62-51. Of course, Oregon won. So once again, 62-51. Holy crap. Let's get going. So, the first thing you have to wonder was this good offense or was this bad defense? Well, honestly, how do you even know, really? It was crazy. Oh, this was one of the crazier games we've seen in a very, very long time. So let's at least attempt to get into the scoring summary. Of course, I'm not going to beat you down with it because it's just insane. But anywho, okay, so Oregon opens up the Anthony Thomas receiving touchdown from Marcus Mariota. That was his first. SC follows up with a field goal. Oregon then counters with a touchdown pass to Josh Huff. Then we had Kenjon Barner's first of 4 running touchdowns for Oregon. Marquise Lee then had a 75-yard touchdown reception for USC. USC then had another touchdown by Robert Woods. Oregon then countered with another touchdown pass from Marcus Mariota, his third. Mind you, we're still in the first half. Matt Barkley then connected with Nelson Aguilar. More on him in a minute. Connected with him on a very beautiful 76-yard touchdown pass. And then Oregon then followed up with Kenjon Barner's second running touchdown of the game. So, if you followed that pushes your first half score, or your halftime score, to 34-24, okay? That's just halftime, okay? That is 2 quarters of play. Already we have a guy score 2 running touchdowns. We have 2 quarterbacks throwing for, I believe, 3 touchdowns apiece, and we're not even into the third quarter yet. So, now to the second half, and you know what? These two teams just kept trading blows, back and forth, back and forth. You had USC score, Oregon scored, SC scored, Oregon scored. Now we go to the fourth. Oregon, we had Kenjon Barner's another Kenjon Barner running touchdown. We then had Randall Hunter of SC with another touchdown reception. Oregon, another Kenjon Barner touchdown. And USC, another Marquise Lee touchdown. Oh my God. Okay. So that's the scoring. All that adds up to 62 Oregon, 51 USC. Holy crap. And you know what? Believe it or not, this game actually was close for a little bit. I mean, the Trojans kept it close in the second half. They were within a field goal, actually, at times. And of course, coming into this game, Oregon was one of the top-ranked teams, and SC was top 20. You know, they're not having the greatest of seasons thus far, but they are certainly doing their best. So yes, as I was saying, this game was a little bit close. Again, USC within a field goal. Actually missed the onside kick towards the end of the fourth, which would have given them possession again. It led to another Oregon touchdown. Basically, that sealed the deal for Oregon. Again, 62-51 is your final score. You know what? That's like maybe an average, perhaps a slightly below average score for a college basketball game. And, we're playing football here. So, holy crap. So, what did all this mean? What did all this scoring and all this stuff mean? Well, your standout players, obviously, Kenjon Barner, Oregon running back, 321 yards on the ground, and 5 rushing TDs. That's an Oregon record. 5 rushing TDs, 321s on the ground. And Oregon quarterback Marcus Mariota, 304 passing yards and 4 passing TDs. Okay? These numbers are insane. Okay, now we go over to USC. And despite despite losing, USC put up some very nice numbers of their own. You had Matt Barkley, 484 yards and 5 passing TDs. You had Nelson Aguilar, who really hadn't done much of anything up until this point. If you thought a USC receiver was going to have a good game, everybody would have thought it would have been Marquise Lee. But Nelson Aguilar, kind of a breakout game for him, 6 receptions, 162 yards on the 1 touchdown. And, of course, Marquise Lee also added 157 yards of his own and 2 touchdowns. Wow. There was enough offense in this game to basically last both these teams for 2 games. Here's what we should do. We should actually just take their stats, both teams' stats from this game, cut them in half, apply them to their game next week, and see if they actually win. Geez, but, what else can be said? Just an unbelievable show of offense and an unbelievable no-show of defense in this game. Again, you really don't know what to say. Was it good offense or bad defense? Both, maybe? Geez, you can't argue with those offensive numbers. And we all know that, SC hasn't been playing the greatest of defense thus far this year. And Oregon seems to always put out their unbelievable, kind of crazy, sort of unique-looking offense. Unique-looking uniforms, too. Geez, they never wear the same uniform combination twice. Geez, that's pretty cool. But yes, so anywho, again, I'll say it one more time because it's just pretty insane for a college football game. 62-51, your final score. Oregon wins. USC loses yet again. So Oregon will undoubtedly kind of look to move up in these rankings here. You put up 62 points, you kind of get a lot of people's attention. So we'll see where they end up. You really could go one of 2 ways. Either you're moving up or you're staying the same. Because yes, Oregon does score 62 points, but then again, they gave up 51. So you really don't know what's going to happen. It'll be very, very interesting to see. Okay, time now to go around the nation, the country, and see if anything else can top what happened in that Oregon-USC game. And on a normal week, probably not. But this was no normal week in college football, as we've already established, so let's get into it. Okay, first off, side note, at the end of my last podcast, the last Couch Potato Report, I said that Marist was going on their bye week next week. That would have been the 27th of October. I was wrong. I'm sorry. Marist actually had their bye this week, so they had off. So there's really nothing to talk about with Marist this week. They will be taking on Dayton next week. We'll see if they can build on their 3-5 record. Okay, so now, let's get into it. Notre Dame, Pittsburgh. You knew I was going here, didn't you? Okay, as mentioned at the top of the program, we had one game go into triple overtime. This was it. Notre Dame, again, somehow, held on to beat Pittsburgh 29-26. Okay? Now, again, a small recap. Notre Dame has just been killing us this year. They've been killing the fans. They're giving us all ulcers with these close, nail-biter games that go into overtime, and you really don't know what the heck's going to happen anymore. Again, the Stanford game was like that. The BYU game was like that. And now we have this. Pittsburgh. Come on, ND. It's a Big East team. But anywho, as I said, triple overtime. Both teams got field goals in the first OT. Neither scored anything in the second OT, and Notre Dame gets 2 in the third. Pittsburgh only got 1 field goal, so it was a battle of the field goals in overtime. Notre Dame got 1 more than they did. Ergo, they won 29-26. So, somehow, by some miraculous fate, Notre Dame is now 9-0. Okay? How the heck are they? It's unbelievable what Notre Dame is doing this year. With all these close games and everything, any of these last 3 games could have easily gone either way. They all could have been Notre Dame losses, but they held on to be 9-0. Okay? Now, what's getting interesting here is can they actually hold on now and go undefeated? And we've been following them a lot this year, mainly just because I'm interested in what's actually going on. So they're 9-0. They got 3 left to play: Boston College, Wake Forest, and USC. Now, obviously, Boston College, not really scaring anybody. Wake Forest, not really scaring anybody. USC, the USC Notre Dame game is always very interesting. But seeing what USC just did today, giving up 62 points to Oregon, that pokes pretty big holes in their defense. So can Notre Dame do it? I mean, if they have more games like this, I'd be surprised. They could very easily lose one of these next 3 games. Because if you struggle that much with Pittsburgh, I mean, Boston College, Wake Forest, USC, despite not being the greatest of top rankings as far as the BCS is concerned, they all put out pretty good football programs. So, we'll see. If Notre Dame holds on, it's going to be a miracle. Okay, enough of that. Into some other action. Now, Louisville and Temple played today. Louisville beat them 45-17. Louisville is now a very quiet 9-0. So we'll see what goes on with that. Texas A&M, Mississippi State score 35-20. Of course, A&M wins. Again, offensive dominance. A&M's looking pretty good this year in their first year in that SEC, led by that crazy good quarterback Johnny Manziel. Oh boy, he's having some kind of year. Stanford beats Colorado 48-0. Complete romp. Colorado kind of stinks. Army Air Force, always interesting to talk about these games. Army beat Air Force today 41-21. That was the Black Knights' second win. Of course, they played that game right at West Point. Not too far from here. I've been there many times. It's always nice to go down there and catch an Army game. And, hey, you know what? The Black Knights got a second win. It's certainly been kind of a disappointing season for them thus far. But you know what? It can all be erased with the win in that Army-Navy game. Still got some time on that one. That's not coming up till December, but gives us something to look forward to. Okay, Ohio State beat Illinois 52-22. Again, we've said it a couple times, I believe now. Ohio State is still undefeated, but of course can't play for the national championship. But boy, are they looking good under Urban Meyer in his first year coaching there. Kansas State beats Oklahoma State 44-30. Kansas State again is still undefeated. They will at least protect that ranking for another week. Okay, now the other game. Again, there were 3 games this week that just kind of blew your mind. The other game just ended down in the Bayou, Alabama LSU. SEC games just always captivate the audience. It's like a couch potato's dream. You could sit there, not move, realize you're out of snacks and beer, and be like, oh, I got to get some more. That's basically what happened in this game. So again, final score, 36-26. The Tide rolls in a very, very close game. This was probably their closest call of the year to this point. They barely held on. It probably was the actual game of the week, but having already talked about the SEC and LSU so much, and also with what happened with Oregon USC, it felt right to talk about that game other than this game. You know what? I mean, a whole lot you can say about this game. A.J. McCarron leads them back at the end. There was some questionable play calling and clock management with LSU towards the end there. But hey, A.J. McCarron holds on. The Tide rolls. And they are still undefeated. They will be number 1 again next week. And who knows, A.J. McCarron making his case for a Heisman. You know, impressive performances like that, impressive wins with decent statistics. Who knows? We'll see what happens as Alabama continues to roll in that SEC and really in the nation as a whole. But yes, again, kudos to Alabama for holding on in this game. Looked like their hopes of a national championship were slipping away, if not completely gone at some points in this game. But they hold on to win. Again, the final score 36-26. Roll Tide. I just said Roll Tide. Oh, that's fun. And there you have it, the highlights from Week 10 college football. And that will about do it for Week 11, the Couch Potato Report. What a crazy week it was. It was a lot of fun. Couch Potato's dream, as I am so fond of saying. Looking ahead to next week, we're going to have Marist going to be taking on Dayton, South Carolina taking on Arkansas, and that game gets a little bit more interesting with the Marcus Lattimore injury. It'll be their first playing without him. Again, South Carolina running back Marcus Lattimore. Oregon State, Stanford. You got Alabama, Texas A&M, Georgia, Auburn, LSU, Mississippi State. Jesus, they're all SEC. You could talk about the SEC all the time with college football. The dominance is mind-boggling. And then, of course, you have Kansas State taking on TCU. See if Kansas State can keep up that undefeated season. As always, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. You guys are the best. Once again, I'm Dan Waters with the Couch Potato Report. Talk to you again next week.